Bam. Black Adamon, that'd be neat. Yo, if we get Black Adamon, we can finally, we can turn Rosemon, our waifu, who passed away from whip waifu into goth waifu. It all comes full circle. Then we just have to, after we get Lady Devilmon, and then we get Lilithmon. And then after Lilithmon, we need to get the left Digimon to digivolve into Ophanimon. Just do the full waifu gauntlet. That's what I'm talking about.
Right there.
Kamen Rider is a lot darker than Power Rangers. That's neat. I don't really, like... I was talking about this with Jet the other day. Because I messaged Jet. It was so funny, chat. I messaged Jet in Discord, like, hey, did you see why Cruella, or not Cruella de Vil, that was another thing we talked about, but we talked about Powerpuff Girls before that. But, oh, but no, now I gotta tell you the Cruella story, too. So I messaged Jet yesterday, and I said, like, hey, did you see that Cruella movie is trending? And by the way, I'm about to say spoilers for Disney's new Cruella movie, if you haven't already seen the spoilers. But I messaged her, like, did you see the Cruella de Vil? Like, she's trending because of her movie and all? And Jet was like, oh, she's very against the movie even existing. She was like, I think it's stupid that they're trying to, like, make an origin out of Cruella de Vil. And I told her, like, you're gonna love this, though. In the movie, her, like, origin story is that her mom, and here's the big spoilers. Cruella de Vil's mother dies because evil Dalmatians are ordered by an evil lady to kill Cruella de Vil's mother. Not only that, but the evil Dalmatians, they don't even, like, maul her or, like, bite her to death like you would think dogs would do. No, they push Cruella de Vil's mom off of a cliff. It's not even, like, a bunch of the evil Dalmatians, like, eat her to death. Or, like, bite her and, like, rip off her arm. They literally, like, push her off a cliff. It's so funny even just saying it out loud.
Here's your chance.
Oh my goodness. It's so bad. It's hilarious, man. But I told Jet that, and then she immediately responded to me in all caps like, I saw this on Tumblr earlier, and I thought it was someone making a bad joke. She didn't think it was, like, the actual plot of the movie. But it's the actual plot of the movie, dude. In Disney's new hit film, Cruella's mother is murdered by Dalmatians trained to be evil, pushing her off of a cliff. Like, I saw the clip from the movie on Twitter. It's just... it's so funny, dude. But apparently the movie is getting really good reviews because Emma Stone acts her heart out as Cruella. But, I mean, like, that movie has to be doing good purely because Emma Stone is a great actress. I can't believe that movie is actually good with a plot like that. Oh my goodness. It's so funny, dude. It's just so funny. But anyways, the day or two before that, I think I mentioned this in another Digimon stream, or I mentioned it in another stream we talked about it. But I told Jet about the Powerpuff Girls script because she hadn't seen that trending on Twitter either. Jet rarely gets on Twitter. She gets on Twitter like once a week or something like that, if that often. But I told her about that, and she was just, I promise this is going somewhere related to what we were talking about earlier, because I was trying to tangent into something else that was said in chat. But I showed her a lot of the bits from that awful Powerpuff Girls live-action CW script. That was just, like, it was like, I believe I described it to her, or maybe this is what I described it to you, chat, whenever we talked about it before, that it was like, or no, I think this is what I said to Sly and Michael and RTK when we were in call. But I said, like, the Powerpuff Girls live-action script was written by, like, a 14-year-old that is trying to write something that they think 19-year-olds would find funny. Or find cool.
Right there.
Is basically what it was.
Stay calm.
Oh, Lone Wolf, did you not hear about this? I swore we talked about it in a stream. I don't remember I don't remember what stream it was, but I'm pretty sure we talked about this in a stream. But, like, a CW, like, the pilot episode of the Powerpuff Girls live action at the CW leaked on Twitter, and it was about as awful as you would expect. Like, there is a bunch of, I think, literally one of the lines was, like, I think Bubbles was, they're, like, older, they're, like, adults or something, like, 20 years old or something. I think one of the lines from the script is literally, like, Blossom is asleep or something, and Bubbles and Buttercup are trying to wake her up. And then it's either Bubbles or Buttercup one, I don't remember which one. But one of them says, like, Blossom, you better get out of bed, otherwise we're going to leak your nudes. And I was like, it was so hilariously bad. I was like, I cannot believe that someone sat down and was paid money to write this. Yeah, also Mojo Jojo, like, isn't a monkey or something. He's like, Mojo Jojo was like a man's name, and he was like an apprentice or like an assistant to the professor. And then like the Powerpuff Girls killed him in some accident or something, I don't remember. And then like the new villain is supposed to be his son, who is also Mojo Jojo, but he's not a monkey. He just has like a pet monkey or something stupid. It's really bad. There was a lot of awful, like, how do you do, fellow kids, wokeness, like, hey, look, we, like, the Powerpuff Girls, they have sex and they do drugs and stuff. It was abysmal, dude. I saw one tweet that took a line of dialogue. There was supposed to be some character, it was some dude who was, like, telling Blossom, like, you have some kind of mental disorder that stems from your father treating you as he did as a kid and all that. It was like a paragraph long of him like trying to diagnose Blossom with like a mental disorder. And the person who tweeted out that bit of dialogue said, this is literally like some 16-year-old took a Psych 101 course and then wrote this dialogue. And I was like, yeah, it's about accurate because this is really bad. But it was like, it was abysmal, dude. It was so bad. When I told RTK, he looked it up and started actually reading it while we were in call. And every now and then when, like, me, Michael, and Sly were talking about other stuff, and then every now and then RTK would just go like, oh my word, oh my goodness. And we'd be like, what happened? And he's like, I got to another part in this Powerpuff Girls script, and it somehow got even worse. Like, it was hilariously bad. But anyways, I told Jet about that, and she was really upset because she loved the Powerpuff Girls growing up. It's like it was one of her childhood franchises, and rightfully so. She had a right to be really upset because it's like, it's just stupid that they would massacre the characters like that. But anyways, she was telling me about that, and then like she said something that I really agree with, and this is where I'm finally bringing it back to what we were talking about earlier, chat, where someone said like, oh, this thing is like Power Rangers but more dark. And, but me and Jen kind of came into a agreement that, like, live action stuff especially, I kind of hate the trend that TV has, and movies have it too, especially, like, I feel like it started ever since, like, Batman the Dark Knight era, where, like, live action stuff, movies and TV shows all have, like, they have this ridiculous idea in their minds that everything needs to be dark and gritty. Like, everything has to be, like, super focused on really mature themes of, like, drugs, sex, death, like, characters being, like, for lack of a better word, I don't like to say emo, but, like, you know, like, super, super dark emo style, like, that kind of thing, like, just darker in general. And I kind of hate it, and Jet hates it, too. Edgy, that's a better way of saying it, like, super edgy. And I don't think that those things are inherently bad, like having, like, dark tones, or, like, even edginess, or, like, a character that's more on, like, the, you know, for lack of a better word, like, the emo. People say emo is, like, being, when they say, like, oh, this character is so emo, they say it is, like, being, like, a negative, but, like, you know, some characters are just more on that, like, side of things, and it can work if they do the character well. But, like, so many, like, specifically, like, live action stuff, and whether it's TV or movies, but I feel like especially TV, is like, oh, we have to make everything, like, super dark and, super gritty and whatnot. And I'm just like, no, you really don't. Like, I really want stuff that isn't like that. Like, not to say that shows like that are inherently bad, but there's definitely an oversaturation of it. To the point where I'm like, you know, I want different stuff. Like, you can make a show and it doesn't have to be that way. Because the Powerpuff Girls were never like that when I was younger. They were always, like, happy stuff. And they had character moments and stuff where at times would, like, get a little bad here and there. But, like, it was never, like, super dark or anything. But I feel like they just do that too much for series in general. Batman is supposed to be dark and gritty. To an extent. I disagree with the idea that Batman has to be all, like, let me put it this way. The way that they did Batman in, like, the new DC stuff, like, in the new DC movies, like, how they have Batman act in, like, Batman versus Superman and all of that stuff, like, that's too much. That's too dark and gritty. Like, I grew up on, like, Batman the Animated Series and, more specifically, the Justice League cartoon and Justice League Unlimited. Batman is not, like, 100%, like, super deep voice, dark evil, never cracks a smile, always, like, in a growling voice, being, like, super, super dark all the time. Like, that's not how Batman always is. He can be a little more, like, lighter toned in certain media. And also keep, like, the darkness and all that other stuff that makes him who he is.
Way to go!
Yeah, Batman vs. Superman was a really bad portrayal of Batman and Superman. I heavily agree. But, like, I feel like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, the old cartoons from, like, the mid-2000s. I think it was mid-2000s? Early 2000s? Somewhere around there. I think they portrayed Batman and Superman insanely well. I'm a little biased because I grew up on them, obviously. But, like, that's the kind of Batman and Superman I want to see on the big screen. But they go way too heavy on, like, dark and gritty stuff nowadays. You know, I just feel like... I feel like a lot of TV series and, I feel like there was a point somewhere... Dude, I can tell that I'm talking so much now that, like, my sickness is making my voice, like, start to feel like it's cracking. I apologize. But, there was some point in history, in media, like in recent history, like probably somewhere in like the early to mid 2000s or maybe the late 2000s, where media decided like people don't like happiness anymore, or they don't like people being happy-go-lucky or like happy times and all that. You know what people want? People want like darkness and sadness and grittiness and whatnot. So let's like crank that up times 10. And those are, like, that's what'll sell. So that's the only stuff we're gonna make. Those are the only kinds of shows we're gonna pitch to, try and get them made. And I kinda hate that. Because, like, again, it's not that it's, like, inherently bad. Like, you can make shows like that and they can be good. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with making some shows that are more, like, on the happy side of things. Or, like, good stuff happening. Or, like, characters not being, like, super dark and et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know, I just feel like Hollywood and then, like, even television in general have kind of, like, for the past, like, decade, they've kind of leaned heavily on, like, stuff needs to be super dark and gritty. Like, when they tried to make that live action, well, I say tried to, they did make it, and I'm pretty sure it got, like, a second or third season, even. But when they made, like, the Teen Titans live action thing, and they were just like, dude, we have to make this as, like, dark and gritty as possible, because that's what the kids want. I don't know what kids are the ones that wanted that. It certainly wasn't me. I didn't want Robin looking like he straight up slammed his boot on someone's throat and killed him, and then saying F Batman. That's not the kind of Robin that I want to watch on the big screen, especially not when I, like, watch the Robin of the original Teen Titans cartoon, who was really well made and portrayed. Oh my goodness. Sorry, my nose got really stocked up there. But, yeah, you know. I don't want to, like, point fingers at, like, Christian Bale's Batman trilogy, because they were good movies. I only watched the third one, which I have been told is the worst one. And I definitely should at least watch the second one at some point, because all I ever hear is that Heath Ledger was amazing as the Joker. But, I do feel that was like, the mid-2000s. And I think the third Batman film came out, like, 2010 or something. It was later in the year. It was around when Iron Man 3 came out, wasn't it? Which was, like, 2008, 2009? But, like, I feel when those movies were coming out... But, when those movies were coming out was kind of when it was, like, all of TV and a good chunk of movies started to lean towards, especially, like, in the superhero genre with DC. specifically, they were like, everything has to be super dark and gritty. It's all people want to see. That's all we're gonna pitch. That's all we're gonna make. And I was like, dude, this sucks. Like, can you please make something that's not so, like, dismal and just bad? Like, something more akin to, like, the cartoons that everyone loved. Oh, are you dying already? Oh, you're at the point of dying, huh? That seems a little early, isn't it? Yeah, you're gonna be age 3 tomorrow, so we're gonna have... Well, you might be age 3 by the end of the day, actually. I don't know. You're gonna hit rookie, like, right after he does. That's not too bad. No, that's actually good. That's about a 3-day difference. That's about what I want. Alright, let's just beat up a few more Vegemon until Shine Greymon dies, and then he'll die and we'll get a new egg. But anyways, yeah, you know. It especially sucks for me because DC is the biggest, like, they're the biggest, I don't know what word I'm looking for. They're the people that do it the most. Not the word victim, instigator? No, I can't think of the word I want to say. Culprit? They're the biggest culprit of doing that? Of wanting to be, like, super edgy, super edgy, super dark, gritty shenanigans. And I grew up on DC. Like, you know, Marvel's good too. I'm not trying to say DC is better, but I like DC more than Marvel. I like the Marvel Cinematic Universe more than the DC Cinematic Universe because the DC Cinematic Universe is awful. But, like, I like the characters from DC, like the villains and the heroes and stuff, more than I like the heroes and the villains from Marvel. Mostly because I grew up on DC. I grew up watching, like, Batman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, Static Shock, Teen Titans. Well, I'm pretty sure there are more than just those, but I grew up watching a lot of DC animated stuff. So, like, DC superheroes were always, like, those were the superheroes for me. I always liked them more than I liked Marvel's. But, so it's like, it's really disappointing when DC, with, like, all of their live-action movies and everything else, they're just, like, incredibly, like, bad. Super gritty, like, not very good, way too focused on, like, they don't get the characters right, in my opinion. They, like, don't make good portrayals of them. Oh, but Chaos, it's, like, a very accurate portrayal of this one version of the DC hero from this one string of, like, 30 comics. That's the one it's based on, and that means it's actually... Nah, dude, it sucks, man. It sucks. I don't like it. But anyways, yeah, so, you know, it's really lame and it sucks, basically. I just wanted to complain about how sad I am that, like, it's great that Marvel has done so well and has made so many good movies for so many people, myself included, to enjoy. But, like, as someone who loves DC, it's so disappointing knowing that, like, great superhero movies exist in the world, but almost none of them are DC movies. Because DC can't make good movies to save their lives. This Lotmon is already near 2000s in stats. It's not even a champion yet. I believe when it died, it was near the 2500s as a mega, so, like, we're very easily going to match that and ideally surpass it. The Aquaman DC movie was pretty good. The first Wonder Woman movie was, like, it was alright. I would even say good. The Shazam movie was also... The thing is I don't really think, like, Shazam, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, they were good movies. Like, they were alright movies. But none of them, I didn't feel any of them were really, like, amazing. I haven't watched Wonder Woman 1984, but all I've heard from, like, everyone who's watched it is that it's actual hot garbage. Like, it is terrible. Don't watch it. Also, yeah, Amber Heard is in Aquaman, which is, you know... I don't really put much stock in, like, what actors do in their own time, you know, kind of separate the art from the artist kind of thing, but, you know, Amber Heard is a despicable person, I'm willing to say. And she is in the Aquaman films.